Hello and welcome to Law and Order SVU here on FANVERSATION. We are talking season 3, episode 10, Ridicule. It was so easy for you to do
that. Was like, thank you.
I'm Yael Tygiel. I'm joined as always by Felicia Michelle. Hello, Felicia.
Hello, ladies.
Hello. And Taylor Gates is here.
I am. I sure am. Like Great. It or not.
Yep, Taylor showed up. Thank you guys so much for joining us. If you've never watched our show before, please make sure you have reached out to RAINN if you need help. Their number is 1-800-656-4673. If you were assaulted or need to talk to somebody, please, RAINN is there for you. They're a wonderful organization. Again, that number is 1-800-656-4673. What does that spell?
Oh, it spelled hope. Yeah, Felicia,
I wasn't sure who was gonna do it.
We were eyeing each other the whole time. You were saying that if you saw us laughing, it's not because it's a joking matter. It's because Felicia and I have a rivalry going here. Who can say that first?
Look, and the best part about it is I knew I wasn't going to say it. I just wanted to let you have your moment of anxiety. I might say it. So I knew I wasn't going to. I was like,
you're just baiting me. Just baiting me. God.
Already off the rails.
I can't.
All right. Again, if you are new here, sometimes we make jokes. We're talking about a very important hotline. And yet, more important is the competition between Felicia and Taylor.
Maybe not as important, but it's important. It's important, though.
So consider this your content warning. Sometimes we say things that are not timed right, I guess.
Yeah.
You've been warned. Usually I have a quick cap. This episode, I'm going to be real honest. What is written on IMDb was written by a fan, and therefore it does not count as a quick cap, and I will not accept it. So this is season 3, episode 10, Ridicule. It is known as the one where Casey Novak was a rapist and murderer. Yep. It's the one with the male stripper where they talk about if a man can be raped by a woman.
Which, of course, he can. I just wanted to say that right up front. He very much can, despite what Elliot Stabler wants to say.
This is also the one with the what you know about the law I can fit in the palm of my hand. That is the one. So if you're not sure which episode we're doing, I literally just told you.
Yes.
Cool. What did you guys think of this episode, Felicia?
I came to a really, really unpopular opinion. I think if I get kicked out of the episode, it's because of this opinion. I don't like Elliot Stabler. I'm done. I was just like, you know what? I think because of the time era that the show originally came on, that he was this, he's the best one on here. And I'm like, no, you were actually the worst one. You were the most, at this point, you're like, we've seen later on that he becomes more evolved, but he still holds a lot of those hyper masculine societal norms or stereotypes to be true, to be very true. So much so that he's like, how? And he's like, and he doesn't even understand the concept, it's 3 people against 1 person. Doesn't matter what their gender is. It's like 3 people.
I agree. I think you're totally right. I think it's fair. Specifically, I will say it. This episode, this is season 3. It reminds me how far Elliot has come. Not to say that he is now much further, but he has moved. I don't think would hold these ideals as strongly in 2021.
But he would still question it. He would still not go to believe. I still don't believe he would go to believe first. Because even he'll, in future episodes with different topics, he'll say oh, well, I know that can happen, but I know
Absolutely.
This is, but it's personally, it's hard for him to conceptualize, even though he knows the truth about it because he works in sex crimes.
No, I agree with you. And I think that, this episode was in 2001. It was season 3. And he maybe is supposed to be the voice of most people because most people do believe that. I think all of your statements are very fair. Taylor, what did you think?
I'm gonna be honest. I was a little nervous about this one because my sweet spot is like season like 6 and 7 forward, and like the early ones are not usually my favorite. But I was like surprised at how much I really enjoyed this one. It had some of that like interesting world stuff with the autoerotic.
Don't you worry. I'm going to teach us all about autoerotic
which was
asphyxiation.
very interesting to me. I really liked that we had an Alex storyline of her like having to sit second chair. I thought that was really like fun. I love Diane Neal like as Casey, and here I just like love her as an actress. It was really fun to see her play the villain, and I love Paige Turco too, so to see her play the villain was really fun. So I don't know, I really liked this episode and thought it was really interesting, and I agree with you. I was not happy with Mr. Elliot Stabler, but I do think that it was kind of a voice for what a lot of people were probably thinking nowadays too, but especially in 2001 when it aired. So I think that it was almost necessary for him to like play the bad guy in this case, just so we could punch holes in it.
Yeah, Jennifer in the chat says, agreed, Felicia, about Stabler, but I guess they always did have someone play devil's advocate. Yeah, so Jennifer's agreeing with both of you. Welcome, Jennifer.
Jennifer.
I agree with you all a lot. I think that times have changed, but also people have not. I think that we have seen Stabler grow. I think that he does get to be that character for the audience to see through, because people do believe, you know, even in the hearing about dismissal, you know, the question about penetration comes up because that is a part of the definition, the legal definition of rape. And so I think that's very interesting. I picked this episode for a couple of reasons for us to do this. One, because we literally talked about it last week about how Casey Novak, you originally was a rapist as Amelia Chase. But I also picked it because I know that Taylor doesn't like to do older ones. So
I know, I don't dislike them. I just like usually like the later ones better. But I did like this one a lot, so maybe that's not true anymore. Maybe I just need to rewatch a lot of the older ones.
Yeah, maybe Yael just needs to force you to do the older ones.
Maybe, yeah, I guess so.
If you like Novak, you'll like Cabot too. Like I haven't really seen people like, oh, I don't like. Usually, if fans or people watch a show like one, they like the other. Although Casey Novak is the longest running female ADA in the series. Like she had more seasons than anybody else, and she's come back too. I actually looked that up. So like while I was watching the episode, I'm gonna give y'all a little tea a little later whenever Yael gives me the cue as to why she left and where she is and why we haven't seen her. Because I was watching and I was like, this woman's amazing. Like, because we know her as, we know and love her as ADA, but like watching her as, a rapist, an admitted rapist. And she was into some real freaky shit and tried to lie about it like she wasn't into the freaky shit.
Okay, so let's talk about that right now.
Yeah, let's just get into it.
First of all, I want to be very clear.
Trying to find a scarf.
As much as Felicia is shaming you right now, we do not kink shame here. As long as everyone is consenting adults, we support
celebrating. I wanted to wear my scarf in solidarity.
I love it. I have so much news about autoerotic asphyxiation that I want to talk about it. So we'll talk about that right now, and then we'll talk about the episode. Okay, everybody. It's time for Sex Ed with Yael.
I'm ready.
Because
so
here's what is fascinating in this episode. Our victim, Sydney Green, is murdered and is staged to look like she died accidentally through autoerotic asphyxiation. So let me define those words. Autoeroticism means the sexual gratification obtained solely through the stimulation of oneself, of one's own body. And then I went, is that not masturbation? And yes, it is the scientific term for masturbation. So autoeroticism is masturbation. Asphyxiation, that's the key here. Asphyxiation is choking, the state of asphyxia intentionally induced by the smothering or strangling of oneself. So autoerotic asphyxiation is when you like to choke yourself to get off.
We're getting like linguistic too. Not only is this sex ed, this is language. Like I feel we're getting Greek roots up in this bitch. Like I love this.
Yeah. So what I found very interesting is through the episode, I noticed that a lot of the characters would would reference the way she died as autoerotic. They were like, oh, she died, autoerotic people are into this and autoerotic people are into that. And I went, that is not correct. They were like, oh, autoerotic people use a scarf. And I went, no, people who are into autoerotic asphyxiation, it's very specific. They're into this type because, like I just said, autoerotic means masturbation. So not everyone who masturbates uses a scarf.
And then could there be other types of things that people do by themselves that
Absolutely.
that are not asphyxiation, that are just, self-pleasing acts? So they kink shame. I didn't kink shame. They
kink shame so much.
She shamed herself, which I thought was really, really interesting.
Mm-hmm. It was very clever that Amelia Chase said. She was like, she was into weird things like, autoerotic asphyxiation. I've never tried it. Let me pull up my turtleneck.
Did anybody go back and look to see if she always had on a turtleneck and a scarf? Because I did. I went back and I was like, yes. Did she always have? I was like, she did. She always did. She had a collared shirt on too, or I was like, she did. I thought one of the turtlenecks was a little low, but I don't know about where the rope goes on your neck. I guess in my apartment or my room.
Right. They were trying to, I guess, say that she would tie it low. Hilariously, I do have a scar on my neck, and I want to be very clear that it has nothing to do with that.
Okay.
I just realized that I can see my scar, and I was like, oh my God, I hope people don't think. Although if you do think that, that's wonderful. No, that's not my thing.
Yael said method acting to talk about this episode.
I went to a deep dive in my research.
Sure, I had to find out for myself. No, I know for a fact that I'm not into asphyxiation. So therefore would not be doing this myself. Just throwing that out there for anybody who's wondering.
It's very, very interesting that they were all these super powerful women, super successful.
That's how it is.
I don't know. I still was like, maybe there's something around the corner that it's not them or something is different. Like, I think you really want to not believe that women are capable of doing things like that, because most people go to women. We tell kids, hey, if you're in trouble, you should probably go to a woman. Like, you tell because women are typically more nurturing, but not these heifers. They were crazy. They were, and I just thought it was just so interesting because they essentially really took on the personality of rapists that we've seen so many times. I'm untouchable. You can't do anything to me. I'm powerful. You're nothing. He was a sex worker, essentially. He's in the business of sex work. I mean, I don't consider stripping sex work, but I know some people include it in sex work. But I mean, and they treated him like crap. She said they threw the money. It was so funny when they were in court. It was like, oh, she threw the money on him after. So did you raped him? And it was really just an exchange for her. And I was like, but isn't prostitution illegal? Is it not illegal? Is it just not illegal in the Dick Wolf universe? It's illegal.
It's illegal. It's just not. It's illegal. It's just not part of the case. But I agree with you. I think that what I love about this episode specifically is that if you flipped everything, it would have been open and shut. If it was 3 guys raped a female stripper, open and shut, no one would question it. And I think that's
however, though, I don't think that's necessarily all true, because there is a sex work element of it. So that's why I thought this episode was really interesting, because not only did they have a male victim, but they had to be a sex worker too, which I feel like today we have a lot of those cases. Like, even in the season we just watched, where they're like, oh, well, sure, she was a stripper, she was prostitute.
Sorry, let me clarify. I think that the detectives wouldn't have questioned taking the case.
True.
Jury 100% would still have an issue. The jury would still have an issue convicting, but I think that our cops, had this been flipped, there would have been no question whether they took the case or wanted to.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, sorry, go on. Apologies.
No, that's all I wanted to say. I just thought it was, in 2001, the fact that they had that combination of people, I was like, wow, that was, I don't know, that just surprised me that they did that all the way back then. That was 20 years ago, and
there was something interesting that they brought up, and I was like, what? Women's rage is really growing.
Yeah, what was that? Can someone explain that to me?
I was like, am I looking too deep into this? when Elliot sits down with the psychiatrist and he's like, oh, well, this happens. And then it was mentioned another time too in the episode where it's like women's rage, like women are becoming more like men, right? And the fact that they can be that way, more rage, more violence. Like they violated him. Like she used a letter opener to try to back him into a corner. They handcuffed him. You know, these are not typical things that you think of a woman as, you know, doing. But I thought that whole like women's rage thing was interesting.
Yeah, the exact quote is, female rage is a growth industry. And then Huang says, price of equality. And I said, what are you talking about? I did not get that either. I wrote it down to be like, someone teach this to me like I'm 4 years old, because I don't know what that means.
I believe it, but not how they're applying it. I think women are sick. I think women are enraged. Women are sick of the shit they've had to deal with for decades upon decades upon decades. And then I guess you see in the beginning of the early 2000s, women really start to be not just in the workforce, but like bosses. Like these women are bosses. They're at like the top of what of their industries. They're making money. Like they're, you know, so, and look at what happened to Cabot. She was put second on a case that nobody even wanted before to some man. And I'm like, if you're talking about that kind of rage, I can understand that kind of rage. It's kind of rage to make me be like, I'm not going on a date with you. You said something stupid as hell, and you probably have some caveman type of mentality. And that's my rage. But like rage to like sexually assault somebody, no. Punch them in the face, maybe, but not.
You're both right. It's so interesting because literally that scene was Wong explaining toxic masculinity to Stabler. He was like, you know, men are taught not to hit a woman. Men are taught to bottle up their emotions. Men are taught not to show their feelings. And he's explaining this in a really great way. And then it takes a weird turn where he says that, but he does say something interesting. He says, I wouldn't be surprised if there are more male victims out there, which, yes, we do know about that. Jennifer in the chat says they were shaming powerful women a bit, and I felt some misogyny in the episode, definitely. And I think that is definitely, you know, a part of 2001. Like that was, you know, we still had a lot to learn about things.
This is just like basically, it's like the patriarchy harms every single person who lives under it, is what this episode said to me, basically. Like, men aren't believed when bad things happen to them, and then women are treated like garbage, no matter their industry, no matter, like, it's just no one wins under it.
Hot ass mess.
Yeah. I very much agree. I have a question for you all that you all probably maybe you know the answer. If not, hi Morris.
Morris said he agrees too.
Yeah, I
Thank
appreciate
you, Morris.
him popping in. So during the trial, Pam Adler she steps up to question the witness, to question the victim, and I realized because they like interrupt everything at this moment. Is this the first time, because this is season 3, is this the first time we've seen a rapist question their victim on SVU?
Oh, it might be.
I was going to say,
because the way that they addressed it, like,
the first time, the very first time, yeah.
And it feels like it was the first time because the way everyone was like, what is she doing? How could she do this?
Oh, everybody and their mom jumped up like, oh, hell no. Right. What are y'all doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah, so I was like, oh, interesting. Also, the part where they revealed that he filed a civil suit for $5 million because he wanted to know their names reminded me very much of the episode with the Italian diplomat.
Yes, when he was flying back and forth.
No, not that one. That's a really good one too. Flight, such a good one. No, I was thinking of the other Italian diplomat who it was.
There's a lot of them, honestly.
Well, listen. Whenever Mariska can get her Italian in, they let her get an opportunity on. So you know, I'm here for it.
The one specifically, actually, that one was French. That was Flight, and it was French, and it was the Epstein story, which is really wild because it was before everyone knew who Epstein was. Yeah. Anyway, the episode I'm thinking of is the Italian diplomat who rapes the maid, the African maid, and her, and they get the phone call with her friend. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It just reminded me of that. It's a
great episode, though.
Yeah, it's a good episode. We talked about that episode recently. because
Probably.
the line that stuck with me from that episode is when she spit it out and he said that's the difference between like and love.
Yeah. Oh,
So
that
gross.
episode. Whew. That's a rough one.
Yeah.
That's
Anyway,
nasty.
yeah. We're jumping around this episode, so I'm like, let's find my other discussions.
So the thing I wanted to say was really interesting about the guy, because as you go, obviously you're like, oh, he did it. Like he offed her. Like she did this horrible thing to him. And it would, not to say it would be in his right, but it's an understandable linear thought of how you get from that action happening to you wanting someone to no longer exist on the face of the earth. Makes perfect sense. But when we saw him, he had a puppy in his hand. And I instantly was like, nah, it's not him. Because
It's
remember,
homeless animals or something, right?
he wanted to give the money to the animal
shelter.
shelter if he won. And I was like, and then he grew up with money, so he's not motivated by money. Money doesn't mean anything to him. He went and did a whole program, a dramatic arts program that his parents wouldn't pay for. So obviously, if you're willing to go out and deviate when you know you have a support system like that, like money is not probably, you're well off. You've always had money. So not having money, when you haven't had money, you were a stripper. Like you were making money stripping. Like, I don't know.
Like good money.
I mean, it was smart how he did that, though. I never even thought about that. I knew he was holding something back, but I thought it was that he had a sexual relationship, maybe. I mean, I have seen this episode, but it was a long time ago. But if he maybe had a sexual relationship of consent with somebody, but not that he would like hurt anybody. He was like wanted to hug puppies and act.
I want to talk about Warner for a second, because she was at some conference and we had some assistant who was not helpful. And then when she comes back, she's like, look, he's good. She literally goes, he's good, but he isn't imaginative. And I'm like, what are you saying, Warner? What are you saying? And then we learn that she says female autoerotics are rare. Again, this is me pointing out that she means autoerotic asphyxiation, not just people, because females who masturbate is not rare. Just facts you're learning here on the SVU podcast.
Definitely necessary.
Absolutely. And then she says that it's habit forming, which I find very interesting, that if that's what you're into, it's a habit forming thing. I don't know if that's true or not. I would love anyone who's in that community to tell us. But she says that if this is something you're doing consistently, you'll have a towel or a silk scarf to keep the rope from chafing, which is why alternatively, we've seen when we find out that later it was Amelia who did this, and she's always wearing a scarf or a turtleneck. That is how we know she does not use a towel or silk scarf. It's a really like very small details that they plant in beautifully.
Yeah, that was cool. Like you go back and watch, you're like, oh, it's like a little Easter eggs.
Yeah. But there was a part where they check out the scene and CSU didn't dust the whole beam, the whole ceiling for prints, which
It's brilliant.
It was so smart, but it made me wonder, when they got up to dust the fan for prints, did they not also touch the beam and realize that they needed support? It just tells me that they're not good at their jobs.
Well, yeah. But I love it. I always love it when they're like, oh, there's that one thing they didn't look for, like dust for. I always think that's really fun. Where they're like, oh, they didn't open that drawer though. Or like they didn't dust that part of the ceiling. I always love it when that happens. I'm like, wow.
Also, Elliot's face during that recreation of that, them trying to figure out that scene when he got that, he said, oh. She said, yeah, just in a couple seconds, you'd be knocked out. He was like,
just let me show you.
I want to believe that was a very genuine response and not just acting, because it did happen really fast. And she went, like, oh, snap. Like she, in 2 seconds was like literally gone. I mean, not dead yet, but gone, because knocked out. Imagine your friends doing that to you though. Like think about it. They probably been to numerous brunches, birthday dinners. You probably borrowed some money from me. I might have borrowed some money from you. We on our way up. We're supporting each other as these strong women coming up in a hard city, one of the hardest cities to live in. Not as hard as LA, but one of the hardest cities to live in. And then you gonna come over here and kill me? I'm haunting you. I'm haunting you. I'm haunting you.
I love it because it reminds me that you just said that of one of my personal faves that everyone knows, where Casey's the lawyer on it, which is mean, where like the group of girls stuff the girl in the back of the truck. Like, just women turning on other women. Like, is that feminist of me to like? Like, no, but is it interesting? It sure is. So here we are.
I think, and I'll be very, very transparent, because a lot of women, not all women, but because a lot of women have a huge capacity to be nurturers and super compassionate and all those wonderful, warm things, it comes on a spectrum, and sometimes it swings the other way. And when you do something, you make it swing the other way, or something happens, maybe neurologically, something happens, a life event, something happens that changes that, and it swings the other way. As kind, compassionate, nice, sweet, loving, evil, mean, spiteful, petty, vicious. Like I would say, like, men are, a lot of men like who are like that, you know, who are rapists, or they're very much so gruff with it, right? A lot of women who are predators are much more softer with the way that they go about it too. They're a lot more, have to be better manipulators. But once they get past that point, women can be just as vicious, actually, if not more vicious than men. I wanted to point out something earlier I forgot about when we were talking about how not a lot of male victims come forward. I truly have, talking to people, getting older, learning about more people, way more people live their lives. I realized that a lot of men don't realize that they were actually assaulted. Mm-hmm. A lot of men, this happens to them when they're very young, 12, 13, 14, like not necessarily prepubescent, but certainly at the beginning of teenage years, and definitely not at the age of consent, and definitely not at the age where their body's fully developed or they are developed enough to make that decision. And they look at it like, oh, she wanted me. She wanted this. And it's like, no, your sister's friend should not have been having sex with you when she was 18 and you were 14. Mm-hmm. That's wrong. She's a pedophile.
Yeah.
You know,
that's a really good point.
You're grown, somebody else, woman who you might look at and think, oh, she's really attractive, and you think that she's hot, but you don't know any better because you don't have the cognitive ability to see that this is wrong because she's in a position of power over me as an adult.
That always, I think of like student-teacher relationships with like male teachers versus female teachers. Like that is so, I feel like really encompasses exactly what you're talking about.
I went to the school where female teachers did things.
Yeah.
Consequences, and female teachers got fired, like, which is a consequence, but it's not like jail time or losing the way you can make a livelihood. Like,
yeah.
So you perfectly bring it back to this episode, because there was a discussion where Finn says 3 women at the same time, most guys would call that lucky. And Benson's sister saying that men are sex hounds or women can only feel violated. That's gender bias. So yeah, it's this, you know, we've talked about in other episodes where there's a student who is assaulted by a female teacher, and usually, at least in the show, the father is like, it's cool.
High-fiving the dude and stuff.
Yeah. It's one of my favorite episodes is the one that was it was the Lindsay Lohan / Amanda Bynes story, with the girl who was an actress who like was drunk.
The Child Star episode, and that girl had died because he held her head down underwater.
Yes, underwater.
Oh my God, such a good episode.
What episode is that? I'm like drawing a blank.
It's
now I want to watch it.
Producer Backend.
Oh, okay.
And he had only like gotten away with it because he had taped an audition outside in one particular.
That's how they got him.
That's how they got him, like on everything else.
Yes, it was Producers Backend. And it was season 16, episode 3.
16. We watched that.
We definitely covered it on our previous network because I kept calling it something else. But also, there was an entire discussion about how this underwater sex game worked. And then we got yelled at because we discussed the details for too long.
I don't remember.
Because I didn't understand the point, but
it's fine. We need to know.
control, cruelty, dominance.
No, I meant the pleasure point. Like, I don't get. Anyway, we'll talk about it later. Yes. All right. So in the end, Amelia testifies. We find out the like whole story is that Pam and Amelia didn't like this guy she was marrying because they thought that he was some like
He was
some
beneath
like
her.
yeah, gold digger, but it turned out that they met in rehab. They were apparently not good friends if they didn't know. A, they didn't know that she was in NA and in rehab, and B,
They killed her.
They killed her. But
Well.
C, she planned her own shower.
Yeah, that's so mean.
That was
that's cold right there. I would not.
If I were planning my own shower, you know who wouldn't be invited? The girls who were
people
supposed to plan my shower.
it. Yeah.
She was like, I don't know, he was marrying some loser. She arranged the whole thing, whatever. Like, yeah, that is kind of weird. I mean, I don't know. That is weird because I think about that. I have friends who are getting married now, and I'm thinking like, oh, I gotta do their shower. We gotta do this thing, or when are they gonna do this? Like, you know, and it's like not even my thing. I'm not getting married. Nothing. I'm not getting so it's so weird. They were just terrible women. I'm gonna need you do me a favor though, Taylor.
Okay.
I'm gonna need you to write
God.
what happened to the other woman. I need you to write what happens to Adler. You need to come up with something that happens to her because
she goes to jail. She gets arrested for murder.
Okay.
But she got arrested. We didn't see her go to jail. And that was the worst. Can I say that was the worst negotiation of years I've ever saw at the end of the episode? I was like, what? You know, that's not how negotiations.
I love Adler's lawyer.
Yeah, I want to talk.
Let's,
in the words of Kamala Harris, I think we should have that conversation. Okay? Because I said something there. Am I crazy? No, I'm not. Because it was right there, right in front of me. There's something fruity going on there.
See, I knew she was going to say that. I'm
sorry, but did you see the way they spoke to each other?
Oh, when she was like, "Oh, maybe a formidable opponent," and she like hit her arm.
Sorry, you're shipping Maddox and Cabot.
Yeah, kinda.
Okay, just clarifying. All right, go on.
That is rivals to lovers excellence right there.
Is that Maddox's first appearance?
It seems like it. The way that
her red hair, I was like,
I know. But we know when we see her, we're in for something. And I was like, oh, there she is. She's about to come and flip something on its head, disturb it, like, you know, which is great because you always want, like, we have strong ADAs, but you want like strong attorneys to go against them, or else this is gonna be a boring show.
Yeah,
I'm looking to see if this is her first episode, but
they went to the bar together.
And she told Cabot, you're gonna pick up the check. I was like,
right.
This is not her first behavior.
Is it? Okay, cool. Oh,
that's her first episode on SVU. I'm looking if previously she was on original.
That's cool.
She's great. I love her. She's so confident, like exactly as you should be.
She comes in.
Like, I don't want you to win, but like I do want you to.
She comes in. She changes.
Good fight.
Every time she's on the show. Strong as now, she's not my favorite. Sometimes when I see her, she was my favorite this episode. But
she was great in this episode.
No, like her character, like as a personal, like, oh, liking or not. Yeah. Oh, her performance was phenomenal. She always a great performer.
Yes.
You believe it. You love her, you hate her. This episode, you don't like her.
That actress is CCH Pounder. For those who don't know, I think I've met her once. She was very nice.
She's a badass. I love her.
All right. Do we have any other thoughts about the specific episode, or shall we continue with the rest of our show?
I don't think I have
my notes.
All right. Shall we get to our favorite lines?
I have so many, so someone else needs to go first. Or else I'll take all of them.
I have 3.
All right,
okay, I have like 10, so go ahead.
So my first one is when they're still in the room with the body, and he says, if you want something done right, you gotta do it yourself.
That was my first one gonna cross the list. So good.
Because it's true, guys. That's why I said autoeroticism is very common and it's not rare amongst women. I also have the part where the Emmy, who's not Warner, says we call it gentle strangulation, and I think it was
comforting.
That's comforting. And then my other one is really like the whole performance that Diane Neal does as Amelia Chase when she's finding out that she's going to jail. She says, crunch your numbers again. By the time I get out, I'll be eligible for a senior citizen discount. And also something she does with her hand in that scene. I don't know what it is, but I love it. She it's like she's listening, but she's like, it's like a weird hand thing, and I don't know how to explain it. And for our audio listeners, you can't see what I'm doing, but I love it. I love what she does with her hand. Rewatch that scene, right? Just rewatch it. It's kind of like she's going to clear her.
What is she doing? And I was like, we got to focus. Something else is about to happen.
I want to say I would also watch the hell out of Diane Neal just like being a day trader, like being a stock market person. Because that scene where she's like on her computer with like the German guy or whatever, it's like, I love this. I love it so much.
They tried to pick like the most like foreign-ish sounding name, Klaus.
Yeah.
Klaus. Is this the series of unfortunate events? Like,
is it gonna hold Klaus?
Those books and I love that.
Felicia, do you have any lines?
Yeah, I do. I have one because this has happened right before. So Cabot is talking to the former prosecutor, and he's like, "Oh, are you gonna ask our boss?" She said, "I don't have to. Sex crimes is my purview." And then they fast forward, you gonna sit on second chair. I was like, you've had to feel salty as hell when that. Because you were like, I don't have to check with anybody. I'm not checking with nobody. I don't have to check with anybody. Like, no, now you do.
You know, that scene where she gets put second chair, that is like, if I understand correctly, that scene is a classic Law and Order scene. And I feel like we barely got those on SVU. And and I'm kind of glad because I like that our show moved away from the mothership. But like watching it now, I'm like, oh wow, this was a staple in the year 2001. This kind of scene, so weird.
I liked it.
Yeah,
I mean, the Dick Wolf universe collectively has never shied away from putting women in power, and then from actually acknowledging that with that power comes certain side effects, not from you, but from how other people treat you and how other people interact with you and how other women who are also in leadership interact with you. They've never been shy about calling that out. So I can definitely appreciate that about the show. And again, they always put women in leadership positions. I mean, I'm not just talking about Law and Order SVU, but just in the Dick Wolf universe in totality. Chicago Med.
You get that out of here.
Don't you
any
ever
other lines?
say that.
That's it. So like,
Don't you ever say that.
So, I think all three of us had that stabler line. If you have to do something right, you got to do it yourself.
Yeah. Amazing.
It's honestly the smartest thing he said the entire episode.
And that's so true. And the whole other time I was like, shut the hell up. That's
All
enough out of you.
All
right.
What do you got, Taylor?
Take your shirt off and be quiet.
Wow.
We usually reserve that energy for Peter Stone, but I love that you brought it back here too. Choking isn't the kind of thing you share with friends and family. Like,
Not
fair,
true.
I guess.
Not true.
Maybe not true, but I just like out of context.
No, that's a great
I really
line.
love that line.
I'm
Instead of like you like cookies or something.
Choking isn't the kind of thing you share with friends and family.
Like, you don't share that. Like it was a toothbrush or something, a razor.
The thing is, I'm sorry, I have to talk about this line because I literally was like, no, I know which friends of mine are into this and I know which ones aren't.
You are very open with your friends. So.
But my friends feel open with me. Jennifer says, thank you, Jennifer, in the chat. Friends, yes. Family,
okay,
no.
that's fair. That's fair. That's actually a fair distinction right there.
Right, go on.
That would be awkward at Thanksgiving dinner.
Hey, how y'all doing?
You don't celebrate Thanksgiving. I don't know, but
yeah.
Whatever.
He's an artist with questionable talent. I was like, that would wreck me if someone said that about me. Like, I just thought that was the biggest like savage burn ever. He's an artist, professional talent. I was like, gross. We've already spoken on a little bit what you know about the law. I can fit in the palm of my hand. And the fact she says it twice, like she says it and then they reference that she said it to him. I was like, oh, I hate this bitch, but I do love that line.
That line is so good.
It is so good.
It's also something I've started saying to people.
What you know about the law gets in the palm of my hand. It's good. It's a great line.
Because as we know, I have 22 seasons of law.
Right. Like they don't know what we know.
Right.
$50,000, that's still a lot of money. In Manhattan, don't kid me. I was like, that's also a pretty good point. Like, I wouldn't turn my nose up at it, but like, yeah, it's not gonna buy you property in Manhattan or anything.
No, but you've got rent covered for a bit.
Yeah, for a good while. But I just thought like he was so snotty. In Manhattan, don't kid me. Save the wit for your friends, Miss Cabot. Like, get her, collect her. And then finally, your generosity overwhelms me because just that whole final scene with Alex and Maddox is just like, I love them.
Well, now I ship it so hard. Thank you.
Me too. The whole time I was just like, listen, am I imagining this? I'm sure I am. But am I going to bring it up and have the gay agenda on the show? Yes, every week.
Absolutely.
As I should. That's what I'm here for.
So this episode was, I guess, ripped from some headlines. I have some information for us, and I'm going with I guess because I don't know that I necessarily accept this as a headline that it took from, but fine.
Okay.
So this is the case is known as the Mormon Sex in Chains case. And it was the case of a sexual assault and kidnap by an American woman of a young Mormon missionary named Kirk.
Oh.
Yeah. So this happened in the 70s, 1977. A young Mormon missionary, Kirk Anderson, went missing I guess this was in the UK. I'm still figuring this out. Maybe not. Is this? No, maybe not. It was here. He was abducted outside of a church, a Mormon church, and using a fake gun and chloroform. And 3 days later, he was freed, and he reported that he was held against his will, chained to a bed in a cottage where this woman attempted to seduce and rape him. So if you would like to check that out, you can check that out. Oh, it did happen in England. This did happen in England. All right. Yeah, you can check this out if you would like to. The Mormon Sex and Chains case.
Open your eye. Everybody open their eyeballs. Because Elliot is like you said, I totally agree now. I'm thinking about it. He was the voice of the average uninformed person, right? The average person who doesn't work in this thing. Just keep your eyeballs open. Watch out for strange behaviors with people. Ask people if they're okay. Because they might not be. You don't know. People might actually be around their rapists. We know that rape usually occurs between people who know each other. So you just literally never know. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled for your friends. Because I know I do. This show makes me really more conscious of like when I talk to people, when I talk to them about different things and like their reactions, how they're, me and Yael talked about this. I like study people sometimes, like how they react to certain things, how they do things, like why do they do that, how they act when certain people come around, like just open up your eyes. It's happening all around us. It's happening.
Yeah. So that was the case.
And we leave.
I don't believe that case is the case that this inspired, but that is a case that happened.
That's like not a lot of similarities besides the male victim, I would think. Right. Well, I guess that
we don't get a lot of men coming forward to talk about being raped. Just know there's probably more. There's definitely more people.
There's definitely more. I'm just saying, I don't think that's what it ripped from. Anyway, not the point. Felicia, I'm supposed to give you a sign. It's time for you to tell us something.
Oh, is it time for me? Okay, so you guys, okay, so you
I don't know what it is.
This is, so I was like, in my head, I'm like, okay, we always talk about like who our favorite ADA is, right? You know, I think all of us have differing opinion, depending probably upon the day you're asking all of us.
No, mine's consistent.
We know.
It's always Novak.
So I'm a loyal.
So Novak has been the longest running female ADA that we've seen. I think she was in seasons 5 to 9, and then she came back like 13. Like, she's made other appearances through this, right? And so when she left the show, people didn't know why she left the show. Like, she just, like, why would you leave? You're like one of the best ADAs. Unfortunately, it seems like Diane, in her personal life, it's the reason why this happened. So she was with this guy who's a magician. His name's GB Ben. She broke off their relationship. She filed a lawsuit against him, accusing him of physically and sexually abusing her, stalking her, sabotaging her career, and even killing her dog.
Oh my God.
Whoa.
In turn, JB went and filed a countersuit and claims that Diane at her, and she claims he only did this to destroy her character, but he said things in his suit, like she said that everyone at SVU were horrible, they were awful people except for Ice-T, and that
I'm
she,
sorry, Max.
well,
Ice-T
that
could have got me. Okay.
she's
Sorry, it's not funny. It's not.
she's claiming that I can't get it out. She's claiming that
Sorry, guys.
he's claiming in his lawsuit that she said, right? So he's saying that Diane said, quote, that everyone in the industry was awful, stupid, unkind, and that, quote, Mariska Hargitay was a total bitch. So, yeah. She's basically just been struggling dealing with this guy since she's been on the show. So people are just hopefully she can like resolve these personal affairs so that she can get back to focusing on acting. And I'm just gonna put that out there to say this, like, PSA. Don't envy anybody, because you literally never know what someone's going through. She's on a show being an advocate for victims of domestic violence and sexual abuse, and she herself has experienced this, or says she has experiences at the end of someone that she loved. So I'm just saying, like, a lot of times people look at those situations and they think, oh, that person couldn't have that, or that couldn't happen to them, but it did. So I really like her, and I was wondering why she's not in more. I mean, she's been in like Suits. I know she's been in Suits, but like, why she hasn't been in more things. Her star just seemed like it should just be so astronomical at this point. It's hard to wrap your head around that.
So in the last few years, a lot of us have learned that when you wonder whatever happened to that actress, specifically a female actress, the story is almost always awful. It is almost always the case of some sort of sexual assault, sexual abuse. One of the things that we learned in the past few years is a lot of times you'd go, whatever happened to that actor or the actress? And you'd find out it's because they were assaulted by Harvey Weinstein or Cosby or any of these people. And so anytime someone has asked me, whatever happened to that actress? I go, ooh, I have a bad feeling you're going to go down a rabbit hole and find something you don't want to know.
Well, that's exactly what happened today as I was rewatching the episode. And I was just like, it made me so sad because, I mean, I'm working for a dream. You two are working for a dream, and you get to the space where you're in Law and Order SVU. You're this noted character that everybody knows. How do you even tell anybody that happens to you? I thought about that, and I thought about that again because I was watching the Tina Turner documentary. I know it doesn't have anything to do with the price of tea in China, but it's a very good documentary about how people endure, especially women endure through habitual through habitual trauma. They continue to entertain, show up. So yeah, that's what happened. So I hope that everything is better with her and that we can see her really like get to her highest potential, because I truly believe she's a very talented actress. And I can't believe that she would be asked back to the Dick Wolf universe if she wasn't a good person, because they always work with the same people. We know Hollywood is never, and if they don't like you, you're not coming back. So for her to be there so long, come back and make a guest appearance, I don't believe what her ex is trying to say about her feelings about the people on Law and Order.
I think also, I mean, not to give credit to her ex, but like, if you want to destroy someone, publicly, like, this is what they said about their coworkers.
Yeah,
like, way to destroy.
Sweetheart. Mariska? No. People sing her absolute praises from the tops of the on camera and off camera about how great she is. So I was like, oh, he's definitely lying. Right. He's a magician, so maybe he can make himself disappear.
Well, thank you,
Nice.
Felicia, for bringing us this
You're
this
welcome. Wish it was more
information.
upbeat.
I mean, there was that fun part where we all started laughing.
It was like a nervous laugh, you know.
No, but it is.
Except
I
iced
mean,
tea.
except iced tea.
What? Throw that in there.
It's just
Okay.
all right. Yeah, it's time for our weekly poll.
There is.
Kind
So
of a segue.
that's fine. Last week we said, "Hey, what's your favorite episode with an Orange Is the New Black actor?" And we have in fourth place Transitions, which is season 10, episode 14. In third place, Home Invasions. You need to put some respect on Home Invasion's name, but that's fine. It's third place with 18.8% of the vote. In second place was Possessed with 31.3% of the vote.
That's a great episode.
It's good. It is good. Honestly, all of these were good. I wouldn't be mad if any of them won. But Educated Guess actually won, which is the one we talked about, and it's an amazing episode. So it did deserve that gold medal.
On. Why does my choice always get second place? Like every time.
Sorry.
Okay, my choice never wins.
Yeah, y'all's choice never wins.
Yeah, look, if you're listening to us on iTunes, thank you. We greatly appreciate it. But what you're missing out of the video format is that whenever Taylor does the weekly poll, Yael's face will decide if she agrees with it or not. And she was not in agreement with y'all. She was not in
No,
agreement.
the fact that whatever, it's fine. Whatever. Taylor, tell us about this week's poll.
So this week's poll, I'm posing the question: what's your favorite episode with a guest star before there were a series regular? So we, of course, have this one that we just talked about, Ridicule. That is with Diane Neal, who goes on to play Casey Novak, of course. We have Outsider, which is season 8, episode 12. That's the one with Kelly Giddish, who obviously plays Amanda Rollins now. And then we also have Monsters Legacy. Sorry. Yes, but also...
No, Kelly Giddish was
the
the
person
person
to my college.
Yes, I understand. But Cal Penn...
I just want to throw that out there.
Okay.
What do you recognize it for? Whatever. Do you want to take over the poll? Yeah.
No, I don't. You're doing great.
Great. So hush. We also have Monsters Legacy, which is the one with Peter Scannavino, who plays a little greasy man. And then I have other comment below, which currently has a couple votes, and yet no one has commented below. So make sure to do that, or else I'm not gonna know what you're talking about, and it's gonna ruin my life. So we'll tell you where to find that and me in just a couple of minutes. That was a very bad segue, but I tried.
You did great. I wonder if people are putting other when they mean none of the above.
Oh, that would be sad.
But like that's why they're not putting another.
I guess. Well, comment below.
Or
I'll find you, or I'll hunt you down.
The poll is pick one of these. It's one of these is the best. Which of these
one
is the
of
best?
these is the best. Other is, this person was this person before this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put that.
What you don't know is I was about to go to Twitter and just vote for other, but I'm not going to do that because I see
why would you do that to me?
I want Heather to win.
I'm literally gonna exit out of here, and I will not return.
No, we're sorry. We're not trying to blow up. We're not trying to blow up the poll. We're sorry. We're sorry.
All right, it's time for our favorite segment. The best segment that we always forget about. What did we learn? Okay. Would you like me to start?
Yeah.
Okay. So first of all, I learned about all of the different terms in the word, or all the different, I guess, etymology of autoerotic asphyxiation. Okay. And I learned that if people who participate in this do not use a scarf or towel to avoid chafing, then they will wear a turtleneck or scarf to cover the evidence that they did not use something. That said, I think it would be smarter for them to just start using whatever. I'm just saying use a scarf, people.
Don't they sell silk ropes?
Yeah, absolutely.
Not saying I know that for any particular reason, but I'm pretty sure that they do.
I mean, I'm in this episode specifically, once they arrest Amelia, they say that they found autoerotic paraphernalia in her home. And I'm like, what did you find? Rope and belts? Like, that seems like something you'd have at home.
Literature. Yeah. This is like 2020. This is like not 20. This is not a 2020 situation. This is 2001. Thank you. So maybe there was like a actual physical article or
Oh,
something like that, a Google search of a computer,
sure.
because that's the only thing I could think that they would do. Because I'm like, how would you know she
Right.
does? She has ropes in her house?
Yeah, I have rope, but everyone knows I'm not into choking. It's common knowledge.
Okay.
Anyway.
Taylor and I's faces were actually hilarious. Please, you have to go back and screenshot that.
What did you all learn?
Well, besides the part where they were like trying to change the law and like the law bias about like men versus women and like what the actual, definition of rape is and like how that impacts everything. I thought that was really interesting conversation. I also learned when I see someone with a turtleneck on, I'm gonna be a little sus.
Oh my God, I think that every time.
I'm gonna be a little sus. And not in a bad way. I'll just be like, good for you. Honestly, glad you got some.
I just want to clarify that some people who are into asphyxiation, it doesn't have to be autoerotic. It's so that they do it with a partner.
Yeah.
I just want to throw that out there.
During sex. That's like number one thing, I think. Like one of them.
I mean, it's a thing porn has tried to convince us that everyone's into.
Oh, porn's not real sex.
I know.
No.
Somebody was telling me that they were with some guy and he started joking her and she's like, what are you doing? And he's like, is that what girls like? No.
Consent,
Talk about it.
maybe.
Please talk about it before you put your hands around someone's neck.
Secondhand embarrassment is horrible. You know what's crazy though? Not crazy, but I always ask for consent before I do things with people now.
That's not crazy. That should be standard.
So I mean, like, I'm like, do you hug? Because I like to hug. Do you like to hug?
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
But even during sex, I will, it has been really recently, but I will ask, like,
Good.
Hey, are you like, is that okay? And then people be looking at me like I'm crazy as hell. And I'm like, why are you looking at me like I'm crazy?
No.
I used to say,
normal.
People would always talk about how, like, it ruins the mood or whatever. And like, not if you're doing it right. Not if you're like, you like this? What do you think about it? Can I do this? You want me to try this?
And sometimes you just need a break and be like, hey, is that okay? Like I'm actually just trying to find out real fast, is that okay?
Right.
Like if you're
Why
already
is this twist turning?
Doesn't ruin the mood.
I think
it's turning like
normalizing consent and asking every single person if you can touch them or not should completely be normalized.
Jennifer says it's sad that it's not normal.
And I do think that Yo's got her phone sex voice on to demonstrate.
Yeah, she got a side job, y'all.
First of all, that's
what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
That's not my phone sex voice.
Jennifer said you got me hot, Yael, with all respect. See, like Jennifer put respect on it too.
With all respect.
Hey, with all due respect.
All due respect.
Man, I'm sweating.
Taylor, did you tell us what you learned? Or did Felicia?
I did. I talked about the law bias and also when I see someone with a turtleneck.
Oh, I didn't see what I learned. Oh, it just really, really reinforced to me that consent is for everyone. And I also want to go ahead and extend that just a bit further, because maybe not in the sexual sense, but consent is extended to everyone. That includes kids. Kids don't owe you no fucking hug. Okay. Mm-hmm. And I mean that with all due disrespect. They don't owe you a hug. They don't owe you anything. Kids are very loving naturally. Let them greet you how they want to. It's about ownership of your body. It's about self-autonomy. It's about understanding that this belongs to you. It doesn't belong to the world. So just don't touch people and don't force people to do stuff. I don't like when the whole like, oh, go over there and give such and such a hug and a kiss. We're about to go. Like, no. My niece, I'm like, oh, go say bye. However you want to say bye. Mm-hmm. Sometimes kids don't want to, they might have hugged you, but they don't want to hug again. Just ask for consent, people's bodies, understanding that anybody can be a victim, including a 6 foot, 170 pound dude in really good shape. So just keeping in mind that, like, from my perspective as a woman, I see sex crimes like this, but from the perspective of the whole encompass thing, there are more people than women suffering at the hands of predators.
I want to talk about that kids thing really quick, because I get into discussions. So for those who don't know, my parents are foreign. So they don't understand a lot of American culture things. And so we've had discussions about, like, kids greeting family members. And a lot of times my dad gets mad when the news is like, kids today are being taught that they don't have to hug and kiss their family. And he gets very upset about it because, like, culturally, my family, everyone kisses everyone. And I think the thing that people forget, and I'm talking to my dad now who doesn't watch this show, is when you teach a child that it is okay to say no, what you do is you're teaching that child, if they're ever in a situation that is unsafe, that is not you're hugging hello, that is somebody taking advantage of their body, they understand that it's wrong. They understand that they can say no. They understand that this happens and they can tell somebody, this is what I didn't want.
Yeah.
So we have to tell our kids that it's okay. Our kids, like, I have them.
That's an adult in your life. My child don't owe you a hug or anything.
Right.
They owe you respect to speak to you when they see you. That's just plain respect.
But they do not have to hug you and kiss you hello.
In your lap, dead, not happening.
If they know that they don't have to do that, then if somebody forces them to do that, they now understand that that was not okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
100%.
Jennifer, who's agreeing with a lot of shit we're saying today, says, I love this conversation. We are too often pressured to do things against what we want because of politeness.
Women having to be nice to men who are like being weird to them. I got this new thing, y'all, and people look at my butt and I stare at them and I look crazy. I make some crazy ass face at them. I'll be like, I'll like sit my shoulder like on my chin and wait, and I'll go like that, and I'll do that. And it gets them every time.
When I get catcalled, I will shout with like a disgusted face. I will shout, no, because I want it to be clear that I am repulsed.
I literally got catcalled the other day wearing like a full.
It doesn't matter.
Maybe 3 hours of sleep. I was like, your taste is so questionable. So, sir, this is not the time. I don't have any makeup on. What? You caught me on a bad day, too. Like, there's just nothing to see here. Also, it's so arbitrary. It's just not about anything.
Like, you're not really my flavor, dude. Not really into that, but
no, that too. I was just like, sir.
I think we talked about it before about sending unsolicited dick pics and DMs. So we talked about how that's never worked. I will also say catcalling. I've never ever heard of that working. I've never heard of that turning into a relationship.
He yelled at me down the street that, hey, shorty with the fat ass, turn around. And I turned around and it was love at first sight. That never happened. I'm sure, maybe not never, but if it did, it was a straight up anomaly and you was tripping.
I'm guessing never. I can't imagine. We lots of things you could have told people.
With all that said, though, we do appreciate orgasms, but orgasms with consent. So keep an eye out for that.
It's available now. So nice segue.
Oh, so that was good. I didn't even know what you were doing.
I understood where it was going. It was great. For those who don't know, we have started making weird ass merch that you can purchase. Available now. So inspired by season 1, episode 4, Hysteria, you can get a t-shirt or sticker, or I think the pillows are really nice, that are a prescription for orgasms as needed with consent. The link for that is in the description below. Nicely done, Felicia. I'm so impressed.
That was so smooth.
It was so smooth.
I just hope that the orgasms with consent works out, because I said you can totally be prescribed orgasms. I was like, but you just need consent. And I really truly believe that. Like, I really truly believe a medical doctor should be like, you know what? I'm not getting enough.
Let me see if I can pull
up. Let me get a hold of somebody's prescription pad. It's over. I'm writing prescriptions for everybody.
Let's see if I can pull up this merch and show it to you.
Just impersonating a doctor casually.
It's really cute
for good reason.
I think we're all sex positive people here. I don't think any of us are like not anti-sex, don't have sex. I don't think any single person on this panel is, but we are just do it with consent. Always.
So here's our current collection of things. You can get a Slave and Pair of Jeans onesie,
Snowball.
Justice for Snowball sticker,
Oh my God.
or the Orgasms Prescribed. Let me show you the pillow because it's my favorite one. Oh wait, does it? Oh, it only comes up as the sticker. Hold on, where's the pillow version of this?
If you go down, it should be like also available. Oh.
No, hold on.
So now I'm gonna have to get the pillow and put it on my couch. I have to get one.
You have to.
That is really so. That is funny.
Okay, here it is.
Oh, okay.
You can get it in any of these forms.
Look at that.
I love the model.
Too.
But
All of
this
the
one's my
pillows.
favorite,
The pillow
right?
is-
Oh, that's
The
beautiful.
pillow is really cool.
That's incredible.
If you got PayPal, look, you can do 4 interest-free payments. You don't have to pay all that right now. That's only $5 and some change. Don't know the change. Went to public school in New Jersey, but I'm sure it's just 5 and some change.
So funny. It's all of our stuff. I'm going to be honest. I lowered the percentage that we get from it so that it's cheaper for everybody because we are not selling this to make money. We're selling this because we thought it was hilarious.
We're not doing this for fame. We're doing it for impact. I forget what that quote is, but I do like to say it all the time.
It's a good
That's
quote.
nice.
I'm not doing this for fame. I'm doing it for impact.
I need you to figure out who said that so when I
I
use
got
it.
you. I'll Google it right now.
Thanks. So if you would like to get yourself an Orgasms Prescribed t-shirt or pillow, the pillow really is, I think, I almost bought one.
Cool. It's a very good gift.
It's a Lady Gaga tweet. I didn't do this for fame. I did it for impact.
Oh.
And I don't know what it's in context of, but she did say that. So, hey, Lady
I
Gaga.
don't know who said it, but okay.
It was who?
It's fine. It's fine. Lady Gaga's great. So
Are we doing Lady Gaga slander now? Is that what's happening?
So that's
I'm
the
not
end of this episode.
But I get it.
Father, Son, and House of Gucci, but okay.
Let's wrap this shit up.
This is different. This is a
Check out
different
the merch in the
podcast.
link below. Taylor, where can everyone keep up with you and find the poll?
Oh, yes. You can find me and the poll on Twitter at @alphaba_and. You can also find me on Instagram at Taylor_Gates_. I also host a Twilight podcast called Win and Forks. We just finished reading the first book, so all of those are available right now. And then you can also find me writing stuff on Show Snub. I'm covering 9 Perfect Strangers. If you love Nicole Kidman doing crazy accents, wearing crazy wigs, not blinking ever, you'll like those articles.
I love that show. I really love that show.
I'm
good.
I'm
gonna wait till it's all out. I don't want to.
It's wild. It's a wild time.
Week to week.
And Regina Hall is in it.
Yeah,
She's so good too.
and Melissa McCarthy.
Yeah, it's an amazing cast.
All right, Felicia, where are you at these days, and what are you up to?
What am I up to these days? First off, I feel like I just been wearing these glasses every single day of my damn life. I've been working, y'all. Okay, so you can find me on Instagram at It's Felicia Michelle, or if you're on Twitter, I ain't really on there, but it's Felicia Michelle on air on Twitter. I am working. I do a talk show. It airs every single day throughout the Caribbean. It's called Talk It Up. It's a talk show. We talk about We talk about politics. We bring people on an interview. There's music. It's a really good time. You can download the MBT app on all Roku devices. It's free to download. You can check us out, plus other really cool shows that they have on the network. I also work with Yael. Again, I can't get rid of her. We work.
I'm like herpes.
The leverage redemption. Sorry, not herpes. The leverage redemption, the official leverage redemption a very distinctive podcast. Child, I can't even get it out because she's making me laugh. So we do the after show for that, and it's really cool. And we're on like 7, just came out, so it's really fun. Best Reads Grass is on there, and she's awesome, and it's just really fun experience. So if you enjoy Leverage and shit, even if you haven't watched Leverage Redemption yet, like you could still watch the show, and you're gonna have some spoilers, but it's fun, and you find a lot of behind the scenes stuff. So if you have Roku, again, you can download that. That is the Electric Now app on there. Yeah, now look, girl, they can see you mouthing it to me. Did you see how trying to feed me my lines like a stage mom? You can download that for free too if you're on Android, Roku, and Apple. You see her trying to see the stage mom. Y'all saw her?
Trying to help. I'm trying to help. Okay. I'm Yael Tygiel. I'm
Yeah,
Yael
you are.
Tygiel. I am everywhere. I Yael Tygiel. It's YAELTYGIEL. What am I up to? I have a show on the Hollywood Critics Association YouTube channel called Hollywood Approved. Basically, we go, what have you watched this week? And then we talk about that, and then we fan cast shit. So it's really fun. I also, all episodes of Super Lady Hero Hour are now available on podcast format. So if you want to check out our review for Suicide Squad or Black Widow or any superhero show, we are, oh good. Check out our review at the Super Lady Hero Hour on wherever you listen to podcasts. Also, here every Sunday, we've released or have prepped out the next few episodes. So be sure to keep track of that. Make sure you've subscribed here to FANVERSATION so you don't miss it. Look at that. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a thing. Get that thumbs up. Nice. I'm on Instagram. It's a lot of pictures of me. So, if that's what you're into, fine. But if not, it's a lot.
I'm into it.
Oh, thank you. My mom was like, why are you doing this?
Oh
my mom's not into it.
You guys, his parents just not get it. And I'm like, why you take so many pictures of yourself? You take pictures of yourself every day? Sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, if I'm wearing makeup, I'm taking pictures. So trust me, new pictures coming. Thank you again to everybody who listens. We really love everybody who's on our live chat. We had some live people here today. I want to give out some shout outs. Of course, Jennifer, who was giving us all our thoughts. Jasmine, who was also here. Thank you so much. And everyone listening to the audio version, we appreciate you as well. I very much appreciate that. And we should do something special for them. I don't know what we're going to do. We're going to do something special.
We'll figure it out.
We will.
We'll rest our head on the orgasms with consent pillow, and we'll ponder on it.
Dream something up.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye.